Alright, today I'm going to review the second Doctor Who 60th anniversary special, which is called Wild Blue Yonder. So alright, Alonzi, let's go. You already know I'm going to sing over the intro because I don't want copyright claim. Dun dun dun, ba-da-dun, da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, bum-ba-dum, bum, ba-da-dum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-bum, boo-da-da-dum, da-dum, ba-bum. Doctor Who, let's go. Alright, let's talk about Special 2, Wild Blue Yonder. So this episode was whack AF, bro. So first off, we had Donna and the Doctor, obviously, and we had the TARDIS. The TARDIS went a bit crazy because of the last episode, because Donna spilled coffee on it. Rookie mistake, I know, right? But then the shit really went down because the TARDIS traveled through time and space and eventually found themselves on a tree in 1666 in England. Fantastic, I know, right? I mean, very cool. But suddenly you have this character introduction, I guess, of a person which is called Isaac Newton. People might probably already know him, but I could also see fans arguing and people arguing about his ethnicity. But who gives a damn? Because it's Doctor Who. Doctor Who can pull off anything, so there we go. Isaac Newton is introduced, I guess. But, you know, he goes down to a tree, sits on it, and eventually an apple falls on him. And eventually a few apples fall on him, because that's when the TARDIS, lands in the tree. And eventually the Doctor and Donna talk with Isaac Newton about gravity, or gravity or something, I don't know. So Doctor and Donna, it was a mistake because they were there. And eventually the Doctor, for some reason, makes sure that gravity is turned into gravity, which is kind of like the same thing. But hey, look, man, I don't know. So there we go. But then, obviously, the Doctor and Donna go back inside, and the TARDIS just goes haywire again. But they eventually find themselves in a spaceship, which is the entirety of this episode, man. Oh, damn, this is so damn cool. So the spaceship is like a gigantic corridor, which is really interesting, I guess. It's a really long hallway. Eventually the Doctor and Donna, find themselves in this corridor, but then they hear the sound of TARDIS dematerializing. So the TARDIS is gone, and the Doctor and Donna need to find a way out of this spaceship eventually. But hopefully, luckily there is a way, because the Doctor says to Donna that TARDIS has a special feature where it goes away because it's in a hostile enemy place, because it's not safe, so it goes away and comes back, hopefully. I don't know. So the Doctor and Donna must find themselves in this situation right there, where they can't eventually go back to their family because the TARDIS is gone, and also the sonic screwdriver is gone because it was inside the TARDIS, because it needs to mend itself. It's a long, very, very, very long situation right here. The Doctor and Donna can't go anywhere because they need to solve whatever is happening on the spaceship, which, oh my days, the Disney money, man. The Disney money made it all happen, man. Because the spaceship looked very insane. It looked actually very long, man. The corridor was insanely long, and that was really nice. But eventually the Doctor and Donna find themselves a robot. Great. Yeah, this robot just stands there for some reason. I don't know. Whatever it might do. But then they hear this word, and the walls keep turning. And eventually, that's really weird. The Doctor and Donna don't really know what's going on, what that word meant, and why the walls are turning around. So that's interesting. I know. So, I guess the Doctor finds out that there is a hatch underneath them, and out pops a freaking vehicle, which was really funny. Reminded me of that scene from The Runaway Bride, where they found those those segways. Really interesting, and really reminded me of that scene, obviously. So there we go. That's nice. So they have a way to travel in this very long corridor, and eventually they stumble upon this door which leads them to the cockpit of the spaceship, which has a seat in it, or a seat in this location, which makes sure that the Doctor is like, okay, shit, whoever is on this spaceship has a bomb. So that's great. It has a butt, man. Hey, nice. It can sit for a properly. Yeah, there you go. Very, very difficult, I know. So, the doctor eventually zips a bit on the computer and eventually finds out a bit of information because there was this hatch on the spaceship that opened up 3 years ago and then it closed again. That's interesting. A little mystery right there. Alright, and there were 0 life signs or 0 life signatures located on the spaceship. I mean, that would be false because the doctor and Donna are also there, so I mean, I don't know. Little thing that I, thought of anyway. So that's really interesting. But for some reason, something is lurking at them. Something is looking at them inside the walls, just behind them, but they don't really see it for some reason. So okay, whatever. The doctor makes sure that Donna and himself can go back, but they kind of fix up a bit of the computers and a bit of the data and whatever, the hard drives or something. So Donna goes to one room and the doctor goes to one room. But eventually something really wicked goes on, and there's this Donna who goes inside the doctor's room, and there's this doctor who goes inside Donna's room. But as you can see, thanks to the editing of this episode, you can see that the doctor is in the blue room and Donna is in the orange room for some reason. And there are 2 people, but they're not Donna, because Donna is there and the doctor is in the other room. But there's a doctor in Donna's room and a Donna and the doctor. What's going on? Why are there 2 of the same people? I mean, what? What's going on? What's going on? So I guess eventually the copies, the doctor and Donna try to talk with each other. The real Donna tries to talk with this fake doctor, whatever. And eventually, for some reason, this doctor person says, my arms are too long. So that's really suspicious. In the doctor's room, we have this Donna who eventually also speaks with the doctor, but she also says, my arms are too long. And eventually we see this horrific body horror, man. This really long arm of this Donna and the doctor. So, whatever, the real Donna and the real doctor just walk back to the middle where they first said, okay, well, yeah, this is the room, this is the cockpit, right? And eventually we see this horrifying arms just dragging along the floor of this fake Donna and fake doctor. And the real doctor and Donna are like, okay, what the hell, bro? We need to get out of here. So they run, man. They run. They get back into that vehicle. Down the long corridor they go. But these horrific, monstrous, let's call them no things, I guess. They're called no things. They eventually get bigger and bigger and they get like, very disgusting. They get stuck between each other. It's really, really horrifying. But then the doctor and Donna go inside of a hatch, and that's where they get separated because the walls are going to turn, and the doctor is on one platform and Donna is on another one, and they separate again. Oh boy, not again. So eventually, yes, they encounter again this fake copies of Donna, a fake copy of Doctor. So the real Donna meets the fake doctor, and doctor meets the fake Donna, and eventually they have like 2 of those exact moments after each other, but then they get back together. But then there are 2 Donnas and 2 doctors, which who the hell is the real one and who is the fake one? Because that's really insane. So the doctor eventually kind of bamboozles the fake ones into saying like, okay, well, I know my Donna is kind of dumb sometimes, but actually she's also kind of smart sometimes. So boom. So these fake ones are like, okay, well, we need to make up decisions, but these guys are telling us what to do. So these guys don't make up their own thoughts, so they go off other people's opinions. So they're like, okay, what the whack is this? So the real Donna and the real doctor are together again, but these fake ones are like, no, hold up. We are you, so whatever you think, we think that too. And obviously the doctor tricks them into saying, well, you have 2 options. Otherwise, I don't know, bad stuff is going to happen, right? So the doctor makes up this brilliant excuse like, okay, whatever. You need to cross this line or count every single grain of salt. So grain of salt. He just, does that on the floor. He sort of salts, I guess, the floor for some reason. This fake Donna needs to count them. So these fake ones are like, okay, you guys are tricking us. So the real Donna and the doctor try to go behind the wall, but that turns around too, and they just run, man. They just run, and I guess yeah, they eventually just, get back into the cockpit, right? And they block themselves in the cockpit itself with the seat and stuff like that, and the computer, which is like a good thing because the real doctor and the real donor are with the computer, so they can actually, try to block every single door if they want. The fake ones didn't think of that, although that's what I think. It's a lot of thinking in this episode. Speaking of thinking, whatever the real doctor and the real donor do, those copies do that itself. So they think like the real ones, but they're the fake ones, and they try to be the real ones, because if the TARDIS comes back, they can go inside the TARDIS and not the real ones. So I guess there's a lot of just copying each other, but that's really interesting. So eventually the real doctor finds out that the walls, the words, the robot, the whatever the banging is on the freaking ceiling, it's all connected, because the doctor finds out that the banging on the ceiling is actually the dead captain, which is terrifying. And eventually the words, the walls, and the robot are all part of one big plan that the dead captain has planned, because it's all a freaking bomb, man. The robot is the person who needs to click the button. The walls keep turning when it's trying to click the system on, I guess, for the bomb, when the robot is pressing the button, and and the words are the countdown. So it's all connected, and the copies also know that, because the doctor is thinking that at the moment, but he's not saying it. So the real and the fake ones go to the robot. They run towards the robot. The real ones go after them, but eventually the two donors are in a fight. The two doctors are first persons, almost at the robot, but this copy can transform his arm, so he's faster, and the normal doctor is like, oh damn. So eventually the TARDIS appears. Hallelujah, man, hallelujah. And the real one goes to the two donors, tries to ask a question about something that she mentioned before, and he picks up the freaking copy, man. Oh my days, what the frick, man. So the real donor is like, doctor, no, you picked the wrong one. And that's insane, because the doctor eventually finds that out, because he says, your arms are too long. And that's like a little detail. Like, he says her wrists were too long, which he probably saw, because he's the doctor. He knows everything about everything, and he always has a plan before a plan when a plan comes, I guess. So there you go. He ditches that fake one, and the real one, the real donor, gets inside the TARDIS, and they have this hug, man. Oh, dude, this episode was freaking terrifying, scary. It was so thrilling. It was so exciting. It was insane, insane. And yeah, eventually the TARDIS appears, and it's inside that little street that they were in at the end of Star Beast, I guess, the first episode of the 60th anniversary. And you meet Wilfred Mottman, the legend, the captain himself, the GOAT. So there we go. But the world is getting into chaos, and the doctor needs to solve that in episode 3, which is called The Giggle. Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Dude, this episode was fantastic. It's one of those episodes where the doctor is in one location, like one building, but needs to solve a lot of things. And he's there with a few mates of his. Like this episode, Wild Blue Yonder, I would say, like the God Complex, Heaven Sent, The Eve of the Daleks are like 4 of the same type of episodes where the doctor is in one location and needs to solve something, a mystery, and breathtaking, man, breathtaking. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you later. Goodbye, everyone. Or should I say, Doctor, I'll let you go, and we'll see.